Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast on Prince. My name is Michael Dean, and joining me today, Mr. Big Sexy in Sac. Sir, how are you?
Doing well. The end of the year, the end of 2021, and I'm saying it now. 2022, the Sexy Tour resumes.
Okay, what's the Sexy Tour? What is it?
It is me taking over the world. It's that simple. People got two choices: get on board or get run over. I'm taking over.
Damn, sound rather aggressive, sir. But all right.
Gotta be what I am, baby. Gotta be what I am.
Okay. Also joining us in the building, let me turn my mic down. Mr. Ant Pooh, sir, how are you?
I am doing great. And just like Mark, there's the hashtag Bad Bitch Ant Pooh 2022.
Huh?
There it is.
In process.
There it is.
You're the bad bitch?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Because the opposite of a bad bitch is a fuck boy, and I'm never going to be a fake boy. So,
wow. I thought maybe you just be, a grown ass man or something. You said, but you're going to be the bad bitch. Okay.
I got to keep it ghetto.
Is that what they call it?
Although it is getting gentrified, so you got to ghetto.
Hilarious. Well, we're for the children here, so we're going to get off of that stuff for the moment. But before we get started, we just want to salute to all of our listeners out there on Patreon, and all of our people over there on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. What was that? Instagram. What's the other one that the kids is on the TikTok and TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok.
You know what? You should be a TikTok person.
Wow.
You should have a couple of sound bites from TikTok.
I should have a sound what?
You should have a couple of sound bites.
Oh, sound
TikTok.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we get on that at some point. But just salute. We want to say salute to all of our listeners. Thank y'all so much for hanging with us. We're recording this in December of 2021. Man, the year is coming to a close already. We're not going to do it right now, but I guess would there be a conversation of the best of Prince of 2021? I guess we had Welcome to America. That was the release, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Sign of the Times was last year, though, wasn't it?
Sign of the Times was last year, and it is nominated for a Grammy. Yes.
That's right. Salute to Prince for that. And everybody who worked on that reissue. Phenomenal. But yeah, so we're coming up to the year end. Well, one of the things we're going to talk about right now is I'm going to tell you where I found this topic, because I did not create this. I was looking on Twitter, and I noticed there was people talking about, I think they were talking about Marvel and DC movies or something like that. Or maybe, it was something. It was like, what's your unpopular opinion about like the DCU or something? And some people was commenting. I was like, man, why should I do something like that for Prince? So that's where I had took that from. And I asked the question. I said, well, your Prince opinion that gets everyone on you like this. And then there's a video of this guy look like a kid at a desk, and everybody's throwing their bags at him. You see some dude throw and fly himself at him, but full stop right there. If that happened, that's fighting time. Like, nigga, what are you doing? We'd have been fighting. But so that was the question that went out. And then apparently it sounds like, and shout out to Chloe, because she brought this up, that I think people have been asking this question in the Prince community before. So salute to that as well. But I wanted to get into some of the responses we got. And
we got a lot, too.
Yeah, and I also wanted to hear the fellas and myself give some of ours. So who wants to just go first to say what their Prince opinion that gets everybody on their ass about pause?
All right. I'll go first because it looks like I was the first one to respond on this. And I'll say it again. A few years ago, we were talking about Around the World in a Day, and I said I didn't like Temptation and I didn't like The Letter. And did they come for me? Oh, the Purple Army let me know. And so I know what that's like. And I caught a little blowback on this one again. I put that up. So I'm still going to stand by it. I don't like them. And I'm sure I'm going to get more heat for it too.
What do you don't like about them? Like what's your issue?
They were just, to me, especially the latter, was just a rehash of Purple Rain to me. That same type of spiritual theme. We were looking for something, which is great, but it was too soon after Purple Rain to have that type of song again. And Temptation, it sounds like it wasn't finished. And that part near the end, where he's doing his little spoken, oh, I don't know I'm going to be back. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Wow. Okay. That's your opinion. It's your opinion. Not here to change your mind.
No, but I do want to call you out on that. Really? Temptation?
Really? Temptation.
Okay.
Well, Aunt Pooh, what do you got for us, sir?
Oh, I'm just going to set it off. And I know Mark is going to come for me, but the definitive rendition of Nothing Compares to You, Sinead O'Connor.
Oh, Lord.
And see, when you see that guy flying across the room in the clip you put up,
trolling.
that's me on Anthony. Okay.
Trolling.
That is
on
not
your
trolling.
Q-Storm.
See, why you gotta disrespect me like that? Why you gotta disrespect me? No, I love the way Sinead O'Connor sings that. She sings it with such pain and loss of love, whatever. So for me, I love her rendition of that song the best over the Family, over the hits, the B-side version, over the One Night Alone version, and it's a tie for me with the finally released 1985 or 84 version that came out with Purple Rain.
All I can say is, wow. That the fact that you tripled down on it, it's just, you're a special kind of Prince fan, is all I can say.
Wow.
Yep.
You are, man. Like, come on, man.
Yep.
Of all the songs. But I guess, hey, that's your opinion, I just can't see it, man. But let me ask you this, and I'm sure we've talked about this. which version did you hear first?
I heard the Sinead O'Connor version.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense by why you say that then. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay, come on now.
I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm just saying that's your frame of reference. Yeah, that's what you first heard it as. So that would make me understand what you're saying. Because if you'd have said, well, I heard the Family version first, I would really be like, wow, really? But I get that. I can understand that perspective. I was listening to, I don't have this young brother in front of me. It's a young dude, man. He does very long, he calls them long-winded reviews of albums. Young white kid, but his frame of reference of music is hip hop. That's his like go-to genre. So when you hear him and he's doing these somewhat in-depth looks at Prince and Michael Jackson and other people besides the rappers that he normally does, but you can hear his frame of reference is hip hop. And it's interesting when he just recently did a full breakdown of Adore, where he just sits there and listens to the entire record. And it was so interesting hearing a young person like him breaking into the songs and what he was grooving about them. And you hear his comparisons, but he recently did 1999 album. And a lot of the things, the way you sort of framed how you looked at Sinead O'Connor, I can hear him when he's talking about 1999. He wasn't as impressed with a lot of the tracks that I thought would blow him away. But when he explains it, I could see why he might feel that way because, one, he heard, I think, Purple Rain and Sign of the Times albums first. And so then he's going back to this. And then he also has very much of a rapper, hip hop sort of sonicness sometimes about the way he frames things. And I could see why he was like, yeah, Lady Cab Driver, this wasn't my least favorite. And I could see why he said that, because he's heard so much of the influence of that song and other things that when he hears the real version of that, I could see how it might be underwhelming to him because it's like, oh, I've heard such and such rap group use this or frame this in a better way because they learned from this. And that's how it's, and I'm being long-winded, but so if I was to say, oh, you heard Sinead O'Connor first, I'm like, well, okay, I can see why you would say that. That makes a lot of sense, how the Prince version might not live up to what you first heard. And I can get that. I don't agree, but I do understand.
Okay, I'm not saying,
and I'm not saying it in a bad way.
I'm not saying it doesn't live up to it. I just prefer the way she sings it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like you've heard it that way first, and so that imprinted in your mind, like, yo, this is the way this song sounds. And Prince's take on it is quite different, or her take on it is quite different. I think the same way I could think like somebody could say, and I may agree with them on some way. Shaka Khan's I Feel For You is the superior version. And I remember that was the first way I heard the song. And I always feel like, man, that's banging, Shaka Khan, and just the way the beats were and stuff. But then over the years, I've listened to the other version and I'm like, I kind of low key like the Prince version better, but they're actually just entirely different takes on the song, sonically. So I can appreciate both, but I would not argue nobody who said they like Shaka Khan's better because I heard that first.
You can't. That's the one time Stevie Wonder outproduced Prince, in my opinion. I guess if that's another controversial
Stevie
take.
didn't produce that.
Who produced it?
I don't think. I think he just played on the song.
Are you sure? Okay, let's go look.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'd be shocked if he produced it, but with the rapping and all that.
Sinead O'Connor's version of Nothing Compares to You is completely devoid of any soul at all. Devoid. None.
Wow.
I don't know if I could agree with that, but I can understand what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying.
Damn.
Paul held it down on the family version. And here comes Sinead with her screeching ass. Get out of here.
Okay, I'll take the L. A Turkish brother by the name of Arif Mardin.
Yeah, Arif Mardin. Yes,
he put his foot on that.
And if
he's done a lot of work, man. He's real.
And if you see this dude, you'd be like, "How did he make something so funky?"
Wow.
But he's been. Apparently the Bee Gees, Queen, Aretha Franklin, Anita Baker.
Yeah, then that all makes sense to me. He's a master.
But I'm just saying, if you see this, but you're like, this dude looked like he was doing like Frank Sinatra stuff.
Here you go.
And he did something this funky.
Well, I mean,
he just book by his cover.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we got sidetracked by Sinead O'Connor.
Here.
Before I go on to mine, I want to go into some other people's stuff here. There's a few that I thought were worthy of conversation. And shout out to Night Child Eternal. Definitely putting in work for the Prince community. He had a number of them on here. I want to read a couple. His first one, and he prefaces, if I'm saying it right, he puts this up at the front. Oh Lord, protect me. I love that because they was like, I'm going in. Number one, parade doesn't really start until Girls and Boys.
What? Flag on the
This is a
flag.
business. You ain't too far gone to see that yet.
Listen.
My water bottle is aimed right at his head. Stop it.
Really Night Child. Really? That's a bold one to say that, man. Let me pull up Parade real quick. Are you serious?
Oh, see, Anthony, you got a few that you're going to answer for too. I'm looking at the list now. They're definitely going to circle back to you.
So that means he's saying Christopher Tracy's Parade, New Position. I Wonder You. Under the Cherry Moon, scrap them. Starts at the 5th track, girls. That's man. Okay, I don't agree with that, but wow, that's definitely get some people thrown at you. I think the first 3 songs, the first 4 songs. We already know the story behind that, right? All recorded in one flow. That's a freaking album. just like a whole suite of music unto itself. But man, well, On Parade, man, and we've talked about this. When that album, for me, when the album first dropped, I didn't know what to make of the first 4 songs. Like, it was just like, when the album comes, I'm like, okay, he's on his Captain and Tennille, Sergeant Pepper vibe again. I'm happy. It was a parade. I was like, okay. But then immediately it locks, to me, just settles in a new position. Once new position comes, to me, when new position come on,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, this is
that bass line.
I'm like, okay.
Come on.
Yeah, that's when the shit starts. Man. He was like, oh, okay, Prince is a fool for this. But I say all that to say, it took me some time to warm up to it initially, aside from hearing Kiss and Another Lover. It's like the immediate put the needle on them songs first. But man, okay. Do you guys have any comments on this?
My thing was, I would like to ask him if he's listened to or seen any of the Hit and Run shows where they expand up those songs, because I just really can't see him saying, after seeing those shows and how they grooved on those tracks, how he can still say that. But okay.
Couple more of his interesting. Well, I don't know if this is a fight or not, but both the Revolution and the MPG couldn't do what the other could. That seems, I would say that's obvious.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I want to know which version of the MPG is he talking about.
Good question.
Yeah, because I don't know, because like that first band, yeah, you're right. I don't know if they could have played those parade tours like the Revolution did. I think they could have did the Purple Rain tours, yeah.
Yeah, as I think about, that's a good question. Which MPG? Because I was the MPG of the Rainbow Children Musicology. Them one. I would love to see them do parade. They would eat that. They would eat that up for breakfast, like Maceo and Greg Boyer and all cats. Oh man, that's a cold combination. Yeah. But again, Eric Lee's and Atlanta Bliss is a cold combination.
Mm-hmm.
Let me stop. Let me stop tripping.
Yeah, I know Blackwell. He would Purple Rain and the Parade Tour. He would kill it.
Ah, yeah, man. Yeah.
But so I need to know which MPG he's talking about.
Yeah,
but I don't know but to the same respect, I don't know if the Revolution, even with the expanded version, could have did that Rainbow Children and Musicology tour, like the way we got.
Here's an unpopular opinion. I think the Revolution is a better group, as in the sum is better than the whole of its parts, or the whole is better than the sum of its parts. Whereas the NPG and the Sign of the Times band had better individual musicians playing in them. You had some world-class cats in those bands.
Absolutely. I think, and then I guess you wouldn't include them because they weren't called the MPG. The Sign of the Times Lovesexy band, in my opinion, though,
fire,
is probably the band that I would choose. I don't know if they're necessarily better on all things, but I just love the way they all click together and the way that they sounded. I love the rehearsals, the extended shit, like that unit. Yeah. May not have all the best musicians, but how they played as a unit, to me, I just was like, I love it.
And I think, like, speaking upon that, for me, you really have to appreciate For Those of You on Volume. I know people are going to go to the small club and whatnot, but I feel that For Those of You on Volume, because that was their first public performance.
Yep.
And they didn't even get the mesh, because over time you get to learning and performing better. So the fact that show was so good and it was their first show publicly, that's just amazing work.
Yeah, and I would say, if you listen to them rehearsals, they could not be good. I mean, listen to how they're playing. They've been playing so long together, before that point that they was like, just want to say, you listen to the rehearsals. In rehearsals, they're dope. Like, I think they're even better on their jams. You know, when I hear the Revolution, when they do what's with the ice cream, and I love all of the changes and turnarounds, and they just had so many little bits and pieces. But I just think it all is played way better with that Lovesexy. When you, like you said, when you hear Volume, or you hear Small Club, or you hear some of those other, was it Munich? Just the way they got, that's when they started really doing some shit, in my opinion. Like, they were just all locked in. And I think because they all played under the Revolution a little bit, and we're sitting there watching, and when they turn, it was like, okay, you're not gonna be with Sheila no more. You're gonna be, they was, you know, and they just came from the different sort of musical background. You know, they all coming from Oakland, and all of the richness of that. And now it's like, okay, you know, Oakland meets Prince. Like, it was like, it was just raw, man. But anyway,
I think also part of it, and I'm probably being super tech nerd here, guy, is at the end of the Revolution, Bobby was using Simmons drums, you know, and they were really ubiquitous at the time. And after that, you know, Sheila used an acoustic drum set. And then he went to my guy, Michael Bland, who was like the reincarnation of John Bonham. When you have a drum tone like those two coming out of electronic drums, it's going to make things different.
Okay. Last one from Night Child. I'm going to make this into the Night Child podcast. Is, I don't know how I feel about this one. Prince is struggling to reach new fans.
I don't want to use the word struggling, but, you know, when Prince, you know, before he passed, he was, you know, looked at by many, and he was starting to accept the role of elder statesman. You know, and when you have a deep catalog like he does, it's kind of hard to bring in new people because, you know, the people like us, we want to hear everything. The new people want to hear the new shit or the hits. So you have to, you know, do that juggling act. So I can see why that could be a concern. I
wonder what he meant by that. That'd be the first thing I would ask.
Well, I think I don't know how old this person is, you know, but people are thinking, well, he's on the hot 100 right now, so he ain't hitting. No, because like you said in the Chris Rock interview, he can go any place, anytime, and sell out. Period. Sell out quickly. So just because a person doesn't have something in the top 100 right now doesn't mean anything. They're still going to put movies in the seats.
But if we're talking about now, and I'm just going to assume, do we think that Prince, I guess the Prince estate, is struggling to reach new fan base? I would say, I don't know if struggling is, but I would say that I could see what hindered that before would have been, you know, the lack of a YouTube presence and, you know, taking the music offline and things like that, you know, going after people and that type of stuff. I think that may have slowed his progress, where he should have been a lot bigger online, or bigger to some of the younger people than he was. But I feel like now I'm starting to see a lot of, you just look at YouTube, and I don't know if it's because the algorithm that I'm seeing is because I look at Prince stuff a lot, but I see a ton of young people making all these Prince videos, you know, watching his music for the first time, or reacting to all these songs for the first time. And they're, you know, all of these young people. And first time I'd be like, how could it be your first time? But then I'm like, Michael, you're old as fuck, dog. You're not around these, you know, everyone's not listening to what you do. So I'm like, okay. And I just find it all very fascinating. And it's interesting to watch a younger person who's doesn't know a lot about it and is learning. You know, matter of fact, I don't have this brother in front of me. I saw it was a young dude. And I was looking at him, I was like, man, that's me if I was young today. I can't think of his young brother's name, but he was doing his first reaction to Come Electra Tuesday. And I was like, huh? Like, wow. You know, kids is listening to this very obscure, unreleased track, which is funky as hell. And I sat there and watched the whole thing. He was like, yo, you know, and just listening to him, and he was asking questions. And he was like, this shit is funky and this is a different type of Prince. And I was like, it's happening. There's kids that's getting up on this, man. I think it's great. But and Pooh, what do you say? No, answer.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. As far as what was the question? As far as
man, we're just doing a show, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying in relation to what part?
Is Prince struggling to reach new fans? Lord. Oh
Yeah. See, my issue with that is he talking about when he was still alive, or is he talking about in the current times? That was the first thing that popped up to me.
All right.
But overall, if you're gonna say it's current times, I don't think so, because I feel like before his death, Prince was revered as this really great elder statesman and legend, at least American and stateside. I'm sure in Europe it's probably Paul McCartney, but in my opinion, who was bigger at the time of his death? Who was bigger than Prince at that level? I mean, Michael was gone, Whitney is gone, so I feel like whenever he, as we saw, whenever he showed up at the American Music Awards, at the Grammys, at the Billboard, wherever he showed up, Saturday Night Live, it was an event like, oh, we got to go see that man because, you know, he is that dude. So I don't agree with that statement.
You know, I got to co-sign with Ant on that, because he showed up at the Grammys one year and he presented an award, and I forget the name of the song. But he said, as he's opening the envelope and he read it, he's like, oh, I like this song. And the people who won were like more freaked out that Prince liked their song than getting the award.
Yeah, I think it was Goethe. I don't know how. Used to know.
Like that. Yeah.
But these are artists in the industry. Of course, they are going to admire Prince. The question, though, is not even young people, are new fans who are not going to feel that way about it, or do they? You know what I mean? Like, are they, though, going to latch on because of those moments you just described?
Well, you know, I hate to like brag about my expertise and what I do and whatnot, but as a social media person, when I remember that night and it was all over Twitter, Prince is here, Prince is at the Grammy, Prince was trending. And as we all know, social media, especially Twitter, is a young person driven social platform. So even if they tertiarily knew Prince that night, I'm sure a ton of people that weren't that familiar with Prince's music beyond Purple Rain did their Googles, went on Spotify to find out why the hell all these people are hyped that this short old man in peach is walked out on the Grammy stage.
Okay. Staying on that lane a little bit, and then I'm going to go to one of Ant's opinions. Stephen Lyles, shout out Stephen Lyles. He says, Prince released way too much music and should have taken a break between some of these releases. What do you think about that?
Co-sign.
No.
I'm sorry. I co-sign. No. And these people, and I know the Purple Rain is like, no, don't you be bringing up Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson showed a blueprint of, we can't miss you if you're always here. And he put the time in to find the right tracks to put out a dope album that he was putting out number one song after number one song. And I get it. I know Mark is going to go off on me. I get it. That's not how Prince operates. But at the end of the day, this is a business. And I feel like as much as we love the fact that we got so much great content, he would have been more successful taking that time and finding those right singles and hits to have it expanded out a little bit longer. I feel like for an album like Sign of the Times, which at the time was so much music on there, I felt you needed more than 1 year to let people discover it and find out just how dope this album was. So that I agree with him on that.
I disagree. And on Sign of the Times, the problem with that was he didn't tour it here. You know, he didn't really support that here. Had he toured Sign of the Times, They could have definitely mined more singles off of it. I agree with that. But Prince and Michael just looked at things completely different, and that's fine. You know, Mike was all about the entire entertainment impact, you know, and he could do that because he had Thriller in his back pocket. Prince was like, look, let's just get it out and get to the next thing. It was almost, you know, almost unconscious the way he would do it. You know, he couldn't just sit still. That's why I read an article recently when he finished up the Purple Rain tour. He was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I need to do more music. He could have wrote Purple Rain for another year and a half. He's like, you know what, no, I got to get something new out. And when you're an artist, you just want it out there, and your hardcore fans are going to support it. Now, will it draw the numbers like, you know, an event type thing? No, but he just wanted it out for his people to digest, and he was prepared to let the marketplace decide these things. And, you know, if you had two systems to distribute it, maybe it could have worked, because like, you know, now, like Bob Dylan and several, I can't think of other people, Miles Davis, you know, people are just releasing tons of this material and it's still selling. You know, so there's no such thing as too much when you have a large fan base.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with both of you guys, but I think the comparison between, you know, the Michael Jackson and Prince, you have to remember, to me, they're entirely two different types of entertainers, I suppose. Where Michael is, and almost Michael is an anomaly anyway, but Michael is the game. Michael was like Christmas to retail. It's like, okay, we're going to wait for that one time a year where we're going to make all our money, and everybody in the game gets in line to reap the benefits of this event of Christmas. You know, we all going to have our sales. We're all going to work together because this is the time when everyone's going to come and spend their money. To me, Michael Jackson's album releases were like that. Like, okay, you get out of the way, first of all, because you're not going to compete. And everyone, the whole entire industry is going to converge to get money off of this. And for like CBS, they're going to make sure that everybody's in line to get paid. So MTV, it's in their best interest to promote the hell out of Michael Jackson, because one, they ain't got no choice. This is their biggest product, because they don't make music. They can only exist on the work of artists, and the biggest artist in the world is going to come out with something. Everyone's going to pay attention. Shift our entire programming has to be about this man. You know what I mean? Whereas Prince does not operate under that type of thing. First, the game is not going to get out of the way for Prince and all shut down. He doesn't sell like Michael Jackson. He's a whole different type of beast. Prince is an artist guy who is always recording. He comes from the underground. I'm going to say it like this. He had a lucky break, or he had a breakthrough and had major mainstream success, but he had been putting albums out underground for years. So generally the underground guy is not going to always stay at the very top. Somebody else is going to take that position. He's going to probably grab some people from that, but he's going to go back to doing what he was doing. And I think that's all Prince really just did. He just continued to do what he had done before Purple Rain. It just had people are paying more attention to it, but the game didn't shift for every year for Prince, because he's not going to sell Purple Rain every time. Whereas Michael Jackson is going to take the long break because he is so big, and he knows that I have to take a break because the game, the rest of the year, let everybody else sell their goods. And then when I come back, the whole thing is going to shift toward Michael again, right? And his music is made to be like that. He's making a real product, where Prince is, to me, just making art. Yeah. And kind of hoping that, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm just got more stuff. I'm not on an every year thing. And I think the thing with Prince is he would probably be even, if Prince came out today, starting out in this world, no one would have said he had too much music. He would have been releasing music every week like these rappers. Like it would, you know, how the Lizzos and all, they just be dropping songs. What's Lil Nas X? He didn't even have an album for a long time. He was just dropping songs. And I think Prince would have been doing exactly that. He would have just been dropping hits after hits. and we wouldn't have known it, but he was sitting there recording every day, but he would have just been dropping whatever, I just came out with another 6-song thing this week or another 5-song thing, and would have been perfect. He was just too early. Back then it was such a rigid thing where he couldn't put the stuff in. I think the thing that, I don't know if it would have been good if Prince even waited longer, because I say this and I'll be done. Prince does, let's say he does Purple Rain out. By the time he comes out with Sign of the Times, if Prince would have waited and say he didn't do Under the Cherry Moon, he just stayed with the Purple Rain thing, kept riding it out, and maybe he didn't even come out with Parade. He waited again. He did a Michael Jackson break. You see how much of a sonic difference Prince would have sounded between Purple Rain and Sign of the Times? I don't think people would have accepted that either. It would have been like, why is it so freaking different? Because he done recorded probably 15, 20 albums of material in between that time where that guy was not going to stop. And I think his fan base who would have heard Purple Rain and then you gave them like, what the fuck is this? I thought you were going to, I think they would have been even more dumbfounded than when they got Around the World in a Day, because it was so different. Even that was, to me, looking at it now, is not as different as those tracks, but imagine the difference when you would have heard Sign of the Times today. It would have been like a whole, and then he looked entirely different. I just think that Prince was too creative for us not to see what happened in between those times, and it would have been too much of a shocker, in my opinion, because it would have been like, this is not even the same guy I'm into. I'm not into this. And people were saying that about Prince just within the year difference. If you go back to the original, I call them the original Prince fans who was rocking from day one to 1999. And then when they got Purple Rain, they was like, oh, my dude done made it. I've been listening to this shit every year. But when they got that next album, some of them old school Prince fans said, I'm good. This ain't the dude I fuck with. He playing that funny style shit. Where's the funk? And so if they were doing that with just a normal 1.5 year break, imagine what would have happened if he'd have waited 5 years. That's my argument. But salute to Stephen Lyles. I think that's a great question. And that you can answer this a couple of ways, because someone is the quality of music. The quality of music, should some of that have been released? I think that's a different conversation. Well, maybe he could have sequenced the albums a little better with certain other songs you may think were fire that were recorded during that time period. I could understand that argument. But that, when you let an artist decide his own stuff, that's what you're going to get. Sometimes he's going to put the song on there. You're like, why did you put that out? You was holding on to Old Friends for Sale. You didn't put. But they see it. They probably see it entirely different when they hear their own music versus how we see it. Because we all, for me, I'm like, Crystal Ball not being put on the album. Stop it. Like, who decided that? But I get it. And Pooh, sir, did you say that Controversy is not a good album?
Speak to him.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, I did.
This is the same man that says Sinead O'Connor is better than Prince. But now you're saying Controversy is not a good album. Please explain.
Okay, first of all, I need you to correct what you just said. Where I said you said Sinead O'Connor is better than Prince.
That's what you said, right?
I said her performance
is
of
better
one
than Prince.
song. Yeah. Okay.
So in that sense, she's better than Prince. Don't try to walk away from I'm on my Fox News. Did you not say?
It's like the audience know what was said. But anyway, yes, I do not think Controversy is a great album. I feel like he should have skipped that and went from Dirty Mind to 1999. Yes, Controversy is a funky little tune. Of course, we know the impact of Do Me Baby. And then, Let's Work. Sometimes I feel for sexuality, other times I don't. But the rest of those songs, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Wow.
Private Joy is garbage? Interesting.
Private Joy, Money Talk to Russia, Annie Christian, Jack Me Off, not feeling that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo.
Purple Army, come get him.
Yeah.
Come get him.
So everything you say, that's gonna be the context, right?
Wow.
He don't like content. He said controversy. He said, "Wow, I ain't listen to this nigga." No,
I'm sorry. Okay, you don't have to. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it a buck.
Keeping it something. Keeping it bucky.
I'm keeping
it bucky.
I'm keeping it as Drake said, 8 more than 92 with it. Thank you.
Well, there you go. You quoting Drake.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Hey, don't be disrespecting Drake.
I'm not
He's had
disrespecting.
Summers on lock 6 years in a row.
Absolutely. Hey, Little Nas X got Summer on lock too. So there you go.
Okay, salute to our young brother.
Hey, absolutely, absolute Drake. I'm just saying, I know where you're coming from. That when you say I know what I'm dealing with. That's all.
Okay, how many Summers you had on lock?
0.
Okay.
So a person who has Summer on lock, we don't listen to him. Got it.
I've never been that big of a fan of controversy, and I'll just say, not good. Not good.
Damn.
It happens.
Okay. Hey, that's the whole point of this. It's supposed to be a safe place to be able to say some wild shit that you wouldn't say normally.
Okay. I saw one that I have to. Maybe I might say I'm caping. I'll be that. I'll put that cape on, jump in the phone booth, and fly out like Superman. Stephanie Snuffleupagus S. Brand. She said, I don't know what the hell he saw in Jill Jones. I can't stand her.
Wow.
Same for Tamar and Bria shudders. And I'm like, well, first of all, it's Prince. We know what he saw in Jill Jones. Secondly, she could that woman could sang. So I'm gonna have to disagree on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I disagree. So, I mean, come on, Jill Jones.
Come on.
That was real quick. Indulge me for one quick. Jill Jones. I remember just the first time I seen Jill Jones. I guess it was probably the 1999 video, and just the fact that I remember seeing Prince, and when it flashes to the Jill Jones and Lisa, the first thing that went across my mind, my lizard brain, excuse me, is God damn. He got some bad I was like, he got the blonde white girl. I'm talking about an 80s black boys mentality. So that's why when you got the blonde white girl, that's like, oh, that's first of all, that's low-key taboo. She's fine as hell. Got the canvas, so she's dressed, she ready. And you ain't never seen no shit like that before. Like, how he got women on there, they dressing damn near, they naked. And it blew my mind. I was like, this is crazy. This brother. So Jill Jones, first sight was just like, God. You know, it was like the homeboy when you went to the little dance party, and there was always that cat. He's either thugged out or he was a dope boy or something, and they had the bad bitch. Like, don't even look at him. Don't say nothing. Like, damn, you just be on the other side of the room, like, oh, they doing it. That's what Prince had. That was some of the early things. I was, whoa. And even when you see Purple Rain, when she first, I was like, oh, like, damn, she's fine. It don't make no sense. Like, how is this cat pulling? Remember, Prince for a lot of us back then was, as much as the music was banging, a lot of dudes was like, this nigga pulling them. He was known for having the baddest chicks. So to me, that was a part of, they're not going to talk about this on the tour. They really ain't going to really talk about this on none of these other podcasts. Prince was known to have the baddest. Like, you would be like, Vanity, Apollonia, Jill, all of them was cold. It was that was just to me, it was just as big a thing as the music. Like, and you had to be like, oh, you get you some Prince girls? Oh, you ain't got no bad ones. Like, you ain't got no bad ones. Like, remember when Vanity was the epitome of, like, you would judge all of them like, oh, man, she ain't like, she look like Vanity, nigga. And you know, when you told that to somebody, like, nigga, Oh, she looked like that. I'm serious. Some of y'all know what I'm talking. Tobias, you know there was this chick. Shout out to everybody in Seattle who remember Paula. Nigga, you remember Paula, nigga, from my South Side Seattle? She looked like she was like Vanity's younger sister, and she lived in here in the hood. And every time you would see her, it was like it was a Paula sighting. I remember because she used to stay in our area. In the South End, I remember she worked. Oh, we went to the Round Tables Pizza, and Paula worked there. It was like, nigga, that's Paula. Used to see her from around the way. She bad as fuck, nigga, and it was too scary to go say something to her. But in the back of your mind, nigga, that's my girl, nigga. That's mine. And I remember we saw her in another place. She worked. That's that Paula. Oh, nigga, yeah, man. She was like the neighborhood Vanity. It was like when you was an alien sighting, UFO. Man, Paula was cold. I don't know what happened to Paula. Shout out to her. But man, but Prince had that. That's I'm saying is that kind of like, oh, nigga, she looked like Vanity. That was
I need
the
to
shit.
see Paula. I'm sorry, I need to see this picture.
You just look at a picture of Vanity Apple, but she lived in the hood. And it was just like, damn. You don't even want to go talk to her, man, because you're not ready.
But the cool thing about Prince, following up on that, and Mike the Word is epitome.
There you go.
Not epitome.
Epitome. Hilarious. I love it.
It's epitome.
On his
what Prince did, though, by having the baddest ones out there during the Purple Rain tour, all the women, I don't know how it was up in Seattle.
Yes, it was here.
They were all decked out in lingerie.
Yep.
And I'm like, damn. Thank you, Prince. Thank you. Because now people want to say Madonna had that happening. No. Prince had that happening. Because if you were a woman at that show and you weren't in lingerie, you were in the wrong building. And I was okay with that.
Now, see, you brought up something real quick, and I'm going to that energy. Excuse me. So we can't be mad today when the Cardis and the Megans, they got these chicks coming to the shows dressed the same way, because that's the same thing Prince was doing back then.
Man, I ain't mad.
And Madonna. Gotta say, and Madonna.
Madonna, I guess. Yeah. But
let it out. Do your thing.
I forgot what we were talking about. What was the question?
Jill.
It was Jill Jones.
Oh,
Someone
Jill
said
Jones,
he didn't. She said she don't know what Prince saw in Jill Jones.
Jill or Bria or Tamar, like, please.
I just want to say to Stephanie, you are probably hetero because
here we
a blind
go.
man knows what Prince saw in her.
Wow.
Here we go.
And she had talent.
Stop hating, Steph. Oh man. Okay. Go ahead.
Here's another one I saw that I'm like, this isn't too controversial. William Ferguson said that Purple Rain is Prince's maybe third best album.
Shout out to William. I know that, brother.
I'm like, that's not too controversial. I mean,
well, out of 39, yeah, I'm okay with that.
I mean, you guys, people, of course, always say Sign of the Times. For me, I put Parade number one. So, yeah. And then a lot of people swear by 1999 and then Dirty Mind. So, yeah, that's not too bad.
Okay. You got any Big Sexy?
I just, wanted to go back to Anthony because Anthony has a few up there, and some of them you want to just smack him.
Yeah, I thought he was trolling, so that's why I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay.
No, it's not
trying to start some shit.
I'm looking at one right now. My man, Jesse Nathaniel Jenkins, thinks Insatiable is underwhelming and think it's one of his weakest ballads.
Jesse.
Wrong
about that
one. Wrong.
Young Master Jesse.
The only thing I could think is that it was too soon after Scandalous, so people unfairly compare them.
Yeah.
But Insatiable can stand on its own.
What did I say? I think I said on the show there are certain Prince songs, and they're like, what good something. Insatiable is one of them. You may have to have certain things put on you and experience certain things. But Insatiable is one of them. Come on now. That's my man. Young Jeff, that's my man. But I'm gonna emphasize on the young part.
Yeah.
Come on, bruh. Insatiable. That's that. That's that gooey. That's that.
That's
come
you
on,
ain't
man.
ready. You ready for this?
I don't know. Young, have you? They ain't had nobody done put it on you yet. Now.
Okay, I see one that's going to stop the train cold right in its tracks. And I'm naming names, Zaya Tolbert. Exodus sucks. What?
Well, I'd love to hear the reasoning behind that, but
I would love for some explanation on that one.
Now, this person, I need to check their mental faculties on this. No, I'm sorry, no disrespect. But your take is just like, wow. Cindy Pickering.
Coming from you, this is going to be interesting.
Shut up. Cindy Pickering. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I like Graffiti Bridge better than Purple Rain.
Oh, God.
You talking about the song or the movie?
I'm assuming the movie.
Like that, you funky weapon. Get out of here.
Nah. Sorry, man. Can't co-sign that.
No.
I'd be curious to hear how did they watch Graffiti Bridge first? Are they did they come into Prince a different way? Because I could try to make sense out of it,
Because is there really any quotables from Graffiti Bridge as compared to Purple Rain? There's so much stuff. There's the standing there behind behind Apollonia with the glasses on. How's the family? Passwords okay? Purify yourself in Lake Minnetonka. What has Graffiti Bridge got to match any of that?
I don't know.
In my opinion, the only thing Graffiti Bridge has that could come close is that scene where Jill pulls off her panties in the middle of the street. That's about it.
Hey now.
Still didn't let me rap.
Oh, God.
Bang. Let me stop.
Man, she 3 fine.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Embarrassing. This is embarrassing. You said it twice. Like, okay.
They took her own song.
Let's not forget Renato's little son.
What do you say? Morris, something, Morris. Bitch, don't you know this is my piece?
And then Robin going, all right.
You better pray for a strong back because I'm not out tonight, babe. This is good. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Hey, everyone's saying some wild shit. So
everyone's entitled.
Now, if they were saying the song, I would argue that, but I know I'd be by myself on that. But.
Yeah, you would. I'd have to take over the show. I have to follow an injunction.
I could see the world where every show ended with graffiti. Everybody wants a fucking graffiti. Super Bowl. Classic Prince performance. Graffiti Bridge at the Super Bowl.
No.
Reason to believe that there's a heaven above. Everybody. Have Tevin Cameron. And you believe in your hands are the power of the Lord. La, la, la. Stop.
Okay. All right. Ernie's a wild one. Susie Marie Clay. She said, I never listened to the GOAT Experience. Everyone thinks it's great, but I'll take Come any day. And Ernie said, whoa.
I'm not mad at him.
He said, whoa, we read and then rephrase the post. I'm like, you wrong.
Hilarious.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm a bigger fan of the GOAT Experience. Sorry. Come has some great bangers on it, especially Papa. I love that one.
I see them as synonymous with each other. Like, they should have just came out originally together, like they were planned, because I think they all go together.
I see it like, looking at it like the speaker box Love Below.
Exactly.
It's the same, should have been the same packaging.
Yep. That would have been a head buster if they did that too. At least to me, it would have. I thought he was on fire at that point, in my opinion. One that I had, and I said that I felt like at times the Larry Graham hate was anti-black. Now I had held off on saying that for a little bit, and you know me. Sometimes I'll put something out. I'm more inclined to see who's going to respond, who's going to jump in there and jump with the cape. But that was and I said that there was some. I don't have it in front of me, but there were some responses to it, and
I
none
don't
of
agree with that.
Well, the thing, some people were going, well, it was religious, and I said, absolutely. I was saying to me. And I didn't say all of them. I said specifically at times it felt to me anti-black. And what I meant by that is sometimes to me, and you can say I'm more sensitive to this because I am a black man or whatever. I see a lot of piling on things because I felt like, oh, that's easier for them to come out against a black man in something because we see it so much in the media as it is. And then I used an example, or I posted an example of what I kind of meant. I took that scene from Do the Right Thing, where they're specifically talking about Prince. And the guy was like, oh, you don't like niggas or whatever, no, I like Prince or Michael Jordan. He's like, well, yeah, but you don't see them really as black. You see them as these entertainer dudes, but you hate all the other black people. That's kind of what I was kind of throwing out there a little bit. I sometimes think that some people, not everybody, don't see Prince as a black person per se. They see him as Prince. He's not like the rest. And they definitely do not give that pass to Larry Graham, particularly if they're not from his time or whatever. It's easier to just, oh man, Larry Graham was that religious psychopath, blah, 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 which I can understand some of the hesitation about him on that level, but the piling on of it, the not even really digging deep, but why he was influential in Prince's life, I just felt like some of that, in my opinion, comes from a subconscious, black man, he's always the bad guy. That's just I'm not saying it's right, that's just how I felt at times. Now, Big Sexy, you wanted to say something.
I am not proud of this, but I was notoriously really critical on Larry when he started being a part of the scene. And then I realized that was my own hang up because Prince was on a spiritual quest. He was looking for something. And if he could get that something from Larry, more power to him. And I also had forgotten Larry's past, because I was just thinking about Larry doing the "Just Be My Lady," that stuff. Whereas Larry, Graham Central, first, playing with Sly, he was the dude. And then you go to his Graham Central Station stuff, which was next level funky. So I can see the musical connection. And Larry's the baddest bassist, period. Because they all steal from Larry.
Yeah.
Everybody. And I just let that sidetrack me, and I was wrong, and I stopped ripping Larry because that's not cool. Anybody who's trying to find a spiritual, fulfillment, wherever it takes them, is where it's going to take them. And, me or anybody can't rip on them for that. If it affects me by saying, well, he's not going to be saying certain words anymore. Prince says himself, if you want to hear that song, play the record. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, Larry Graham's a goddamn icon. He just doesn't get because of the subconscious thing. What I said earlier is the reason why he don't get where he's not respected the way he should be. Actually,
he should be
because he's one of the fucking greatest dudes to do it. Like, it don't make no sense. And the fact that he's not coming. And see, here's the thing. It'd be different if Larry was on some gangster doing dumb shit type influence. He would be heralded, right? He would be heralded. But because he's coming with, in my opinion, he's coming with some spirituality. Imagine that's the bad thing.
Yep.
He's coming with spirituality to uplift another brother. He's demonized. That's what I'm saying. That right there is exactly what I'm talking about. And it's subconsciously, you don't even realize you're demonizing an elder brother who done put in the work, right?
Yep.
to help another younger icon dude that came under him and trying to help him get through whatever the struggles he's going through in life. That's why I'm like, it don't make no sense. He saved that. I mean, let me be clear. I'm not saying he saved him, but he wasn't coming in there telling you need to get on dope, or you need to be bagging these hoes, or you need to blow your money in this business. He's coming in there, nigga, let's do some Bible
Yeah.
Right. Now, you may not agree with this religion, and you may not like that he's pulling Prince in a different direction than you are used to and comfortable seeing him in, but these are two grown-ass black men chopping it up. And the elders coming to give him some good game. So I don't know how you don't celebrate that, in my opinion. Like, I don't, well, he's not gonna make the kind of music I like. Then ask yourself, nigga, are you stupid? Why would that be the deciding point? Because I'm not gonna give you the ratchet lyrics that you want me to be. I'm trying to be on some other shit to help all of my listeners so I can give them some good game in life, because I understand I have influence on these people.
Make the music I like.
Because I ain't talking about, opening your lips up and, all the, and cum and jizz and all this kind of. So I'm not going to, I'm kind of.
Skeet.
Yeah, I'm not doing my skeet lyrics, but I'm actually talking about some, I want to give y'all some good game and help your soul, possibly give you some life. That's the problem we have. Then who's really got the problem? The audience or that's
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why that's kind of what I'm saying about Larry Graham. Like, come on, man, we got it backwards. I wish an OG would come into my life and was spitting some game and want to set me straight.
And I was lucky. I had that, and I have that again with a couple of two different judges. But when you said Prince, talking about jizz, I'm like, he didn't say jizz. I'm like, oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
What do you say when he got around Larry? We got to stop cussing.
Yeah.
And that's considered a bad thing, right? Prince tripping. He got a cuss jar. Is he really tripping? Are you tripping?
Are you tripping?
That's what. So I mean, I think, and again, I was saying these things too, but as I'm older, getting a little bit, hopefully, you start to kind of wisen up and like, actually, I can appreciate that shit.
See, that's what it is. I think, all of us, you, me, Aunt, Lizzo, anybody, as you get older, you look back and think, you know what the fuck was I thinking?
Right.
Let me grow up, And I get that. That's just a journey that we all take, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that should be, that journey is somewhat what is missing from I have to say our culture, but we don't celebrate that part enough. I don't think we weren't at the age where we had to recognize it, but I think now as we see all of our artists have gotten older or are dying, I think hopefully we start to realize the whole family part, the whole growing up and being an adult part of the culture needs to be celebrated, as well as the raw, rambunctious, rebel party type of thing. We can't survive to stay on that our entire life. Like, and I think our culture and our music has to sort of like reflect that as well. And I think and the sad part is some of our iconic artists didn't make it for that, right? Michael's dead. He didn't make it through. Whitney died. She didn't make it through to get to this part. Prince is dead. We didn't make it through to get to this part. He was exhibiting some of that, but we didn't want to accept it at that point because we hadn't gotten there yet. Now we're getting there and he's dead. So we don't get to be like, damn, I wanted him to be his old self. He was being who he was at the time, but I couldn't appreciate it. Now I can start to appreciate it, but he gone. And then we've seen the people of today. This is a sad part today. I was thinking earlier, the cultural icon, the cultural movers and shakers of today, they're known to die. That's the expectation, right? 200 rappers done died 200 plus rappers done died this year. Imagine if we was back when we were listening to music, or if it was 200 plus rockers back in the 80s that died that year. That used to be on MTV. Or it was 200 pop stars that died that year. That would put such a cloud over our shit. But they expect the death now. And so it's going to be interesting to see how all of this stuff is appreciated later. Like, it done gotten super dark. But I hope that the older sort of people who come from the 80s, who the previous 90s and generation, can give some sort of insight to see, like, look at how we've allowed it to become. Now we have all the rappers and people are getting killed. Like, that's the normal thing. It used to be very rare and crazy. Now they're all dying. That's how they become superstars. Young Dolph, saying his name right? Mm-hmm. He becomes revered now because he died. Nipsey becomes a big thing now because he's dead. Prince is now a big thing because he's dead. This is what we're normalizing. So we got to start putting the heat and the love on these artists while they're young and alive to say, no, we can celebrate you through all the foolishness type stuff, but also, man, let me give you a word, because otherwise, look at where things have happened. You know, without the oversight, we don't allow it to get to the death part of the game. It's not that the singers aren't supposed to be dying. They're supposed to be the ones that bring us hope, party, and make us think. But now they're all dying. Like, what are we going to gain out of it? What is it saying to us? And who's going to be around 30 years from now if they're all dying? I'm going on a rant there, but
no, definitely go, because one thing you said got me thinking. I am not by any leap a Tupac, authority, but I remember one of his later interviews. He said, "Look, this last album, I gave you what you wanted to hear. The next one, I'm going to give you what you need to hear," and we never got to hear that. That sucks.
And think of, bringing it back to Prince. At least he gave us, and still have more to go, but at least we got a whole lifetime of completed works where he gave us who he was at that time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I was thinking about Sign of the Times, and man, he gave us Sign of the Times, but then he was on some other shit. He's like, I'm going to do this Black album. At least he had the foresight to be like,
I'm not gonna
that shit is pushing some shit I'm not feeling. I'm not trying to have that influence. Pull that back. I'm gonna give him this. And he comes with that whole rebirth type shit. And he was able to do that. And he continued to keep giving us his thing of where he was, even if we wasn't there. A lot of people wasn't with him on Rainbow Children. But I'm glad that he's like, this is what I'm feeling. If it don't sell, oh well. That's why I'm glad we got Welcome to America. Some people not feeling that. I loved it. I should have loved it back if he would originally put it out. I don't know if our headspace would have been in the right place to hear it, but I'm glad at least he recorded it and finished it anyway. Even if he felt like it wasn't the right time to do it, at least it's documented so that we can hear where he was at these times, even if the themes contradict or go against where the listener is at this time. At least we'll have it. It might be another 10 years. Somebody be like, man, Welcome to America, what he was talking about, man, he was spitting. I'm open to this now. I can feel this. Or Lovesexy. Somebody gonna hear that now and be like, this is Prince. Like, I didn't know he was on some spiritual shit. Like, whoa. But anyway, go ahead.
That's the measure of a true artist. They challenge you, because I've said many times that I've tried to get deep into Miles Davis' Bitches Brew, and I just can't wrap my head around it because it's incredibly complex. And when an artist challenges you as a listener, they do that. They're not worried about, well, I got to be triple platinum. No, they're about saying, look, this is where my headspace is right now. Mm-hmm. Come with me if you can. If you can't, that's okay too. And that's, something that's missed in a lot of music today.
Yeah, I agree, man. And it's, good. one way or the other. When you look at a guy like an Ice Cube, like he wouldn't make America's Most Wanted today.
No.
Because he's he's a totally different kind of guy. He may still believe in some of the themes of it, but that was a different time when he put that out, and the stuff he said in a death certificate. He could not put a death certificate out today. He would be canceled, banned.
Yeah,
because he's saying some very crazy shit on the records. But I'm glad that they exist, because at least somebody can be like, wow, this is what was going on back then. This sounds like today, or whoa, you could speak like that back then. You couldn't say that now. I mean, even though I might feel that, it just shows you how things would be different, how things were different at certain times. And, Prince was great for that, man. So I forgot we were talking about Larry Graham and stuff, but yeah, man, I mean, that's how I felt about Larry. I'm not saying I'm right. That's just how it felt to me sometimes, but I get the Larry. I also get why people got problems with it. I can understand that. I just don't agree with it, but if there's ever something even goes into that deeper, I would love to read about that or hear about that from Larry's perspective. But I just think it's awesome that an artist that Prince looked up to, years later sort of cycles back and becomes a mentor to him. I think that's very, all the times Prince is a mentor to somebody else. It's like, well, who could mentor Prince? Well, it would be the greats, Yeah. So that's dope, man. Let's see, what else do we got here?
Wait, one more thing.
Go ahead.
And I just want to throw this out because I just saw it the other day. I don't know how many people have seen. There's a YouTube clip of an interview with Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, where he talked about meeting Prince in New York after the 2004 Hall of Fame deal, and he walked into a club, and Prince was there at the table, just chilling, watching the festivities. He sends one of his people over to Billy, and he's all, someone would like to meet you. Billy's like, ooh, they point time. Oh, Prince. And Billy goes over there, and they sit down, and they talk guitars for like 2 hours, And the coolest thing about it is Billy asked Prince, he's all, how did you do that figure at the beginning of When Doves Cry? And Prince said, I just threw it out that one day and I can't repeat it. And they start talking about, all these different guitar things. And it's kind of, I'm not saying that Billy was an elder statesman guitar-wise, because I'm not qualified to make that statement. But, they were like learning from each other. And that's one thing I really dug about Prince. With a lot of musicians, he knew who you were. He'd call you up and say, let's play. And you don't really see that anymore. I take that back. With the exception of Silk Sonic, which is pretty cool, you don't really see a lot of things like that anymore. And it could be about music or it could be about spirituality. But as long as these cats are talking to each other, I think it's great.
Yeah, let me deviate. We're going to be all over the place. Goddamn, you're getting a full show. You brought up Silk Sonic, man. Silk Sonic, I love it, by the way. Silk Sonic is what we should have gotten years ago when it was announced of the D'Angelo, Raphael Sadiq, Ali Shaheed Muhammad, and I think Questlove was a part of this too. But when they were supposed to have done their collab supergroup album, this what Silk Sonic, is what we should have gotten with them brothers back then, but they didn't get it together, whatever happened. But I love that fact that you have these two artists that come together and put together something hot. We need more of that. This is also, in my opinion, what we should have got. I'm always keep comparing them. If Mike and Prince would have got together and put something hot, this is, to me, this at least the one thing I can say about today, you can have two dope ass artists and their egos was not so powerful that they could link up and actually complete a body of work together, and the shit was banging. Like when you always think about, man, what if those cats got together and put something hot? These niggas did it. So I salute them for that, because it's just straight fire. And I can only imagine if some of these other cats we'd have saw. I was a song. what's the song, the big song from Silk Sonic, the first one they came out with? Leave the window open. Leave the door. And I said this online. If you think of it like this, man, Leave the Door Open would have been a cold Prince Michael Jackson song. And Michael would have been doing the Bruno parts when he comes in. I ain't playing no games, you know, like the kind of singing. They would have killed that nigga.
Yes,
they would have killed that together. And leave the door open. And Prince could have did all his shit, and Mike would have had that. It's that, and you know, that angelic, that Michael when you leave the door open. Ah man, Mike, it would have killed that, man. That would have been a cold. Just a quantum realm environment.
That'd have been heavy.
That would have been, everybody would have remembered that. And it would have been either on one of their albums, it would have been a Prince would have produced it, would have been like from a 79 era Prince production or something. And they would have clowned that. That would have been a big thing. But anyway, Silk Sonic was some shit.
Since you're mentioning that, do you think that if they were both alive, they would have ever collabed?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, man.
You know, I don't know because...
You know, they both know that people wanted to see that, and there's a bag in it.
When they talked about doing Bad, that was a different time, you know, because when Michael, you know, left us, he was actually a free agent. He was off Sony. He could do anything he wanted, and at that same time, Prince was also, you know, completely independent. So you don't have labels in their ear saying, "Well, you can't do this, you can't do that." If they could have just sat down and just chopped it up and just been like, because Prince is always doing stuff, hey, come by the studio, let's play. And if they got to a point where it wasn't about, you know, whose ego is this and that, and they just walked into a studio and just played, they could have done some serious magic. Serious.
Yeah, I just think at that time, the egos and the 400 years on a lot of these cats' heads, they wouldn't allow each other to come together. Because it's just too much. But that's why I think it took things like hip hop and cats were a little more grounded, and their camaraderie and uniting with one another, that where you finally saw that ego stuff. It was like, no, we all in this together. If you succeed, I succeed. So let's link up, get on the track. The Michael Jackson Prince years, you wasn't gonna see that, because it's not because I don't even think it's really the label. It's because their heads, they come from the era where there could only be one. And I gotta I'm not gonna let them outshine me. That type of I'm gonna be the black guy that made, you know what I mean? It was just a lot of things. That's why, you didn't see that. That's why you saw the button of the heads of the Rick James and Prince, right? Because he can't outshine me. Is that, that was that 400 years. Nowadays, it would have been like, listen, oh, you coming on the tour? Man, let's get this bag. You see how these artists link up together and they doing songs. Man, we're going to get this money. What are you talking about going against each other? Nigga, we're going against the labels. We're going to trick them out. You know what I mean? When you start to see the hustler sort of mentality and, get into it where it's like, man, you got that side of the block. I got this side. We the plug. Let's get this bag. Let's get this music. That was a different mindset than the Michaels and Prince. They come from a different time. So I don't think they would have ever, maybe as they gotten older, they might have been like, man, we seen how the young folks is doing it. Man, we was tripping on that. Why are we tripping? They can be behind. That's why I think we never got to see it. But Michael and Prince behind the scenes was clicked up. They would, would be interacting with each other and doing shit, but they wouldn't show that. But nowadays, you would see people behind the scenes linked up, and they would do projects together.
Well, got a couple more wild takes. Lateef Murdoch. One more. Lovesexy was the worst Prince concert I've ever been to.
Whoa!
And as much as I hate to say,
is he saying that because his experience at that particular show was bad, or is he saying just overall the concert was terrible?
Wait a minute. And as much as I hate to say it, it was nowhere near as good as MJ's Bad concert that came around the same time. Maybe Prince just had a bad night, but we were just so disappointed that night.
I can't be mad at that. He's speaking on one particular night.
Shit.
I've been to some Prince concerts where I was like,
What?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've been.
He's
to
not
Prince
I mean,
9
everyone
times.
has an off kind of night.
No, everyone has an off night. I have never seen one. I was lucky then.
Oh, Lenny must have real strong confidence in his skills. I would kick Prince's ass in basketball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving along here.
All right. Here's another one. Shout out to Bernadette Moore Jackson, our sister.
Bernadette.
She says this. Prince groomed my Tay, and her parents co-signed. Always wish it was me, but not after reading her book. She would never be over him, and neither would I be. God knows best. I will always love Prince.
Yeah, I wasn't going to touch that one.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing what we know now and how we perceive certain interactions, I can't be mad at her for that statement.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead, Big Say.
I don't know. I'm not comfortable with the word groomed, but the guy definitely was smitten. He was definitely smitten, and by all accounts, he waited it out, and he, when she became of age, did his thing. Groom just implies a level of salaciousness that I'm not prepared to give there.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is this. I mean, keeping it honest. Wouldn't have been my dog.
Oh, hell no.
And I love Prince. But I would have had, see, now I'm saying, but I would, as much as I would have been like, wow, nah. I'd be like, for what though? I wanted to come on. For what though? And I would probably be low key like, man, if you don't get the fuck out my face asking me about some shit like that, what are you talking about? But I'm not gonna sit here and disparage Maite or her parents because I don't know the whole story like that. Like I don't know the whole thing. But I just know for me personally, I probably would have been, nah. There's got to be a different way. Maybe she can go in the studio and we can record some songs.
Yeah.
But going on the road,
around half a world away.
Yeah, at that age.
Nah.
That's what I'm saying. To do what? And I would have had, if anything, I would have had to be there every freaking day. But for her to be the love playing sort of the muse love interest type. See, Game recognized Game. I'd have been like, but stop it. I know where you're going with this. Stop it. Stop it right now.
Yeah, let's just have this conversation now.
Yeah. No. It's like, bro, I love you. But no. Not like this.
No.
Not like this.
That's going to be a no for me.
The same way if when they was talking about Michael Jackson and the kids is coming.
No.
Well, I would have to be there every sec. Like, am I just going to let my child go by unsupervised and y'all trust y'all? Absolutely not. Just because that ain't, there's something off about it to me. It would be off that you would even ask for my child to be around and I'm not there. In this environment, lifestyle world, absolutely not. But, yeah, that's a triggering conversation, which I'm sure we ain't heard the last of.
Now, speaking of Mr. Jackson, I want to suggest this, for a future discussion, and I'm going to borrow heavily from our friends over at Music Snobs. I think it would be fun if, we, the Prince crew, took a step back and really examined the relationship and what happened between Michael and Quincy. Because people have been getting in my ear about it at various events and conversations I've been a part of. And I've just been of the mindset, and one man's opinion, but my mindset's like, look, man, you take Quincy out of the equation, you don't get Thriller. Sorry. And there was some type of disagreement, I guess, for lack of a better word. And he didn't do anything past bad. If you are selling between, with the 3 albums that Quincy did, all of them are diamond level. Bad is like 29 times and counting diamond level, I believe, domestically. And you walk away from that, there's got to be something there.
Yeah, I mean, as a Michael fan, I didn't like Bad. To me, Bad was the drop off. Yeah,
really?
I mean, I like some of the great songs on Bad, but Bad as an album, to me, it was such a step down from Thriller and Off the Wall, and more so at the time it came out, I was heavy into my Prince, and I just didn't think it was artistically where I wanted to hear Michael either. Like, all the songs were not bangers to me, and the previous 2 albums, in my opinion, every freaking song was top notch. There were songs on Dangerous that I just thought were beneath Michael Jackson's powers at that time compared to his previous stuff. I actually like Dangerous way better than Bad, for me personally. Like, Dangerous was like, okay, you done got with the new sound that's popping, and these tracks are incredible. But I love Quincy Jones. Like, there's nothing bad I can say about it. I just think they kind of ran their course for me personally by that point.
One thing on Bad that really caught my attention was Dirty Diana. And
I hated that track.
Well, there's damn. There's something he did on that, and he did it on I forget the other song on Dangerous, but he tried to recapture that or recreate that magic when he had Eddie come in and do Beat It. He's like, well, on Bad, I'm going to have Stevie Stevens come in from Billy Idol. And then on Dangerous, he had Slash come in for something, I believe. It was like, dude, you did that once. It worked. Don't make it a habit.
Right.
Whereas he did go a different direction with Dangerous. I agree. I don't think Bad was bad. But, I can see the beginnings of stagnation there.
Mm-hmm. It was a template at that point.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the word. That's the perfect word. Quincy called his same crew.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a hell of a crew.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But Mike, like we said earlier, as an artist, Mike wanted to try something else. And that's okay. That's okay. But I don't know why they couldn't, collaborate on that deeper. Because if you look at Quincy's 2 albums, you look at Back on the Block and Juke Joint, completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different. Mm-hmm. And, it's unfortunate they couldn't, do one more together. But they had a hell of a run with those 3.
Oh, can't absolutely. Complain. Yeah, no. I mean, to me, it's just like the Marvel movies to me. Like,
yeah,
Off the Wall, Thriller is Endgame, Infinity War. You're just not going to be able to capture that. I don't care if you got the same people or not. It's just going to be hard to get magic again like that. You'll come up with something good, but you're up against such a, comparison. I think it's just, you almost have to just go a totally different direction. And that's why I like Mike going with Teddy, because Teddy was the new thing at the time, and Mike still had it in him. He just needed some new blood, I think, and he got that. Like, it was like he brought the best out of Teddy. Teddy got some stuff out of Mike we hadn't necessarily heard. I wish Teddy did all of the album, but Quincy's the man.
And see, that's the thing. When Mike did Off the Wall, which was, huge, and he started to work on Thriller, the stakes weren't nearly as high as they were when he started to work on Bad.
Right.
So he could really take his time with Thriller and, do everything they did on it. And then it sells a quintillion albums. And then people look at you after the tour that didn't happen. So people looking at him saying, what you got now? And so Bad had to be a pressure-filled situation. It had to be.
Mm-hmm. And I would also throw in, to me, Destiny and was it?
And Triumph.
Triumph. Yeah. They to me have the.
That's where it started.
They have the elements of what we hear in Off the Wall and Thriller. Some of those songs are just as great. I think, but Quincy was able to. Okay, let me bring out. I hear what you're doing here. Let me bring. So further. All of the songs are going to be like that, and so that.
See, that's an interesting point, because when they did Thriller, when they did Triumph and Destiny, that was really them being on their own.
Yeah.
And that's what they came up with. I mean, I don't know who was engineering that, or if they had anybody like guiding them or anything like that, or in that studio. But Quincy took that and built Off the Wall with Michael from those remnants. It's like, whoa.
That's what you could hear it in. Michael already had the songwriting. I mean, he was writing them type of songs. He just needed a world-class producer that could pull that and shape that shit. Out.
Yeah, to put that sheen on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, didn't Off the Wall come out before Triumph?
It may have. Actually, I think they were at the same time, because the tour was pretty much both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could hear elements of both in each album.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, Thriller took it to the next level. And the only thing I don't call it a negative about Thriller, but the only thing that was kind of a negative, he didn't get to tour. He got roped into doing the Victory tour. The Bad tour is what the Thriller tour should have been.
Yeah.
Should have been his deal.
I always look at Victory as the Michael Jackson tour, though I know it's the Jacksons, but it was like, we're going in for Michael. I mean, those are. I wish I remember more about that. Those were such a. Those were just so big. They overwhelmed me.
Chaos.
Yeah, it was overwhelming.
Tour, man. Woo.
All right, we get sidetracked on MJ. We're talking about grooming, possibly with Maite. We got time for maybe two more.
There was one, I can't find who posted it, but he said that if Prince had given Black Sweat to Justin Timberlake, it would have went to number one.
The fuck?
Maybe.
I'm not seeing that.
I don't know if it'd be a better song. I think any song you gave to Justin Timberlake at that point was going to be number one. So to me, whether it's Black Sweat or not, that's not saying nothing. Justin Timberlake had the game on lock. Not that I'm a fan of him, but it's the facts. He could have put out anything and been number one. They ain't saying nothing. Here's our last one, and shout out to this guy, Edgar Cruzy. I'm hoping I'm saying your last name right, sir. I'm sorry. But he said this simply. He said, Sign of the Times is not a good album. He backs up to say, I stand by it. He says, it contains his absolute best work, but it does not tell a cohesive story like most of his other albums do. The other configurations make the already wonderful songs shine even more. I can understand why he says that.
So his beef, it sounds like it's more about sequencing than anything else.
Yeah, I think he would be sort of, in my opinion, he's kind of saying, like Crystal Ball, for instance, would have been a more cohesive package album than Sign of the Times, though it does contain classic songs on the album. The album itself.
Blame Warner's on that one.
Yeah, I could understand that. I could understand that. I wish we could have gotten Prince's thoughts on Sign of the Times, the album. Like, what did he really think about it? Was he like, oh, they don't want my record, my album? Suckers, let me give them this little
tidbit.
Yeah, fuck, I don't want to do it like this. And here, take this. I'll take the song that was just a song, one of the songs, and I'll make a whole freaking. We just call it Sign of the Times, but it's not even. Just call it. I'm not saying that's what he said. But here, let them have that. And then doing the tour, and it's like, nah, we ain't even gonna tour on. Man, I'm going on something else. Fuck them. I ain't even gonna help them make this. I wonder how you really felt about the album, because it's not what he wanted. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he don't even want to do it. We ain't doing no video for Sign of the Times. They don't want to put my shit out, right? They can put out this video with just the words. How about that? That's so petty. If you really look at it, that's some petty ass Prince. Oh, I ain't giving them no video. Just put the words on the screen since they want to do it their way. I can see him doing
that's what led to no domestic tour too?
I don't know. I'm only speculating. I have no idea. Who knows? Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, because part of this is on him because he didn't really support the album, appearance wise and all that. So you got got there and push your product, man. And he didn't really do that.
Yeah,
he did the MTV Awards.
Right,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that was big. That was big.
That was huge.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I ain't doing shit else. I'm like, okay, Mr. Shit Else.
I always wonder on that MTV Awards, what if he did, instead of doing Sign of the Times, I guess you got to do the Sign of the Times song, but what if he would have skipped Playing the Sunshine and they went right into Housequake?
He'd have blew the building to bits.
Yeah, I would have been like, he was like, down, shut up already. Damn, everybody was like, what? Man, that would have been cool.
What was that? Aftershock. Oh, man,
he would have shut that
turned it out.
down. Yeah, man.
And we played next, I'm like, I'm not following that.
That would have been some
not me.
shit. Bullshit. Dun, dun, dun. And like, oh shit, what Prince is this? It would have been, it would just, you would have never, we had never had seen that part of Prince before. And that would have been like this, like you wouldn't know what to make of that. You wouldn't have called it rap, but it was like this, what is this? Like,
it's a throwback to James Brown.
Well, I know, but I'm saying at the time we would have just, we didn't know Prince of like that. That was, there wasn't the works and all that. That would have been like, you wouldn't know what to take of that. Like, whoa, he's vicious. But
there's a couple. Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, the thing is, I remember watching this film recently on the Tammy show for like the 61, 62, and there was a dispute, and they recreated this in Get On Up. James thought he should close, and he should have, but the promoter's like, well, we want the Stones to close. James like, is that right? Okay. James went out there and blew the building to bits. And, Mick and the Stones like, right, he should have closed. Why are we going out there? It's like, dude, you let the hot hand go, man. And had he done Housequake, it'd have been over. It'd have been over.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that type of pettiness where you like, you can't follow me.
Oh, they would all do that, man. All of them would do that. They do it now.
Yeah, Prince was big on that though. Like,
but didn't they have the beef?
Go ahead.
With Joe and Tank and that one, they had the same type. And Tyrese, because Tyrese like, I want to close. They're like, man, you ain't closing shit.
Nobody trying to hear "Sweet Lady" in 2021. But speaking of that era, there's a couple, and then of course Aunt Pooh got Aunt Pooh. Sharad Patel said Black Album is his best album ever, which okay. And then someone else posted that if Prince had released a Black Album in 1987, it would have bombed. And then for me, because Aunt Pooh got Aunt Pooh, I said Lovesexy was a great tour. It's an overhyped album.
Yeah, I meant to call you out on that one.
What's overhyped about it?
Yeah,
No,
explain your position.
within the Prince community, they put that almost within the upper echelon of his albums, like top 5, top 10. And I'm like, I don't know about that. The tour, amazing. Even the performances of the songs, of course, Anastasia, he shuts it down. I Wish You Heaven, great. But I mean, like the album, it's like, it's not, in my opinion, it's not a top 5 and might not even make my top 10. But I think the whole aesthetic of Prince, the groove, that tour, the Dartmouth show has elevated it to a status that I feel as an album it doesn't deserve.
Interesting. I argue it's one of his most important albums.
Agreed.
No deny. But I'm just saying, musically, I wouldn't put it in the top 10.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree, but I hear you. Yeah, I think Lovesexy is the first. I want to say, I was almost like that's his first real talking record. What I mean by that is he makes a stand on that record, which he never did before, where it seemed like he's talking about himself and the things he's going through specifically. You know, whether it's popular or what the people wanted or not, almost like this album's for me. And it's the album that's like a reaction to all the success he had, like starting up and then getting into that point and realizing, man, it ain't what I thought it was going to be. And now I'm going to just be myself in a sense, like almost I'm going to disassociate myself from the success Prince that you see, you know. And I think the shows hammer that home. Like, I'm not going to be this guy you want me to be. I'm going to be this other dude. To me, it was his first real album where he's like, I'm talking about my shit now, you know, and this is what I'm going through. I'm not going through what you thought, you know, I'm going through this. That's what I think is his most important. If you just look at it, man, I mean, he bears himself naked on the cover. That's as gimmicky as that is, but he did that for real. Like, I think he did that because I want to bear myself. I'm bearing myself to you, you know.
I think more impactful than the cover, and the cover was impactful. I think that the fact that he released it on CD as one track.
That's another.
He's like, look, you're going to hear this, and you're going to hear this the way I want it to be heard. So there's no skipping around. You know, You're going to start and you're going to stop one trip. And that's heavy. Because remember when I first got it, I'm like, I can't fast forward. Duh. And it says on the desk, it's one track. I'm like, fine. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I wasn't even buying CDs at that point. I was still a vinyl dude. So to me, it was like, I didn't have that experience because I didn't have no CD. That was so new to me at the time. But yeah, the fact that he making choices like that, not to annoy you, is to I'm giving you some real shit, and I want you to,
how it's intended to be heard.
Yeah, I want you to just jump to Alphabet Street, or I want you to hear what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's it. I can't wait till when that album sort of comes around to where they really dive into it, because I think there's a lot there, like. You piece them lyrics, what he's talking about.
You know, let's speculate for a moment. You know, not word, but the heavy money is on the next one being Parade. Thoughts?
I'm here for it if it is. I'll say that much.
To me, it makes sense because they have the film to go along with it that they could put out there. So they can, and I can see them saying, we're going to do this big giant set, give you the album, give you the unreleased music, give you the original film, give you the colorized film if they have it, and then we give you some tours. Shows.
And there is tour footage, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it. Like I said, whatever they do at this point is purely just for the hardcore fan. So that would be something a hardcore fan would love. I love it. You know, I say do it. Either you do it as big as the Sign of the Times package, or dare I say, do it bigger.
You know, I think Prince and the estate, especially, have really hit something here with these super deluxe editions. Other people are starting to do it now, and that's great. You know, because Kiss just did one for their album Destroyer. You know, a big but just big all-inclusive package. It's got video, it's got tour books and outtakes and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, I see where they got that idea from. That's cool. And if they do the next one, be it Parade or be it Diamonds and Pearls, but I want Parade. If they do it like they did Sign of the Times, yes, all in.
Now, if they own a bags, I would like to see them release the Dream Factory album that he was supposed to be working on with The Revolution. You know, if they were really smart, release it as an NFT, get that NFT money, and then release Camille, and then release Crystal Ball.
If you
Those would be some headbangers.
You got to talk Roadhouse Garden.
Hey, do that too. I mean, I feel like they could do some of those, just like they did with the Do Me Baby.
Wait. How can you do it? How can you do an NFT as a song?
No, as an album. You know, you can have the digital album that's only available there as an NFT. You can listen to it and then have either your full ownership or parts of your ownership of it.
You know, at one point,
and make it super exclusive. Yeah. And you know, there are people out there willing to spend that money to have that investment in something they think is going to be worth hundreds of thousands or millions years down the line.
When I'm gonna say this, when they do that, I'm going in.
Oh, I'm not going in.
No, and I mean, I'm not going because I'm buying it. No, I'm gonna talk about going. So when you start selling ownership of Prince's stuff to other people, I'm going in. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wait, what did you say? Ownership of Prince's stuff?
Did you say that you'd be buying an owner? Isn't an NFT buying ownership piece of ownership?
No. So it's not that you would be owning his music or publishing or anything like that, but it's a digital product that you can either own outright as your own. Like, I guess if you have enough, if they say, hey, we have this $10,000 NFT, and if you got the bread, you can pay your $10,000 to have that one, or you can go into having, hey, you can buy parts of this NFT and we can sell it $10, $20, $30, $40, and it accumulates to like maybe 1 million people owns this one NFT type thing.
Right. Like I said,
like a stock.
I'll be going in. On the Prince estate specifically, that's all. So when they're able to do that, and we're just gonna be pulling up. We're gonna pull up the records that Prince have, and we'll go through the lyrics and see how that correlates with the actions.
I think you might be getting hanged up on the ownership.
Maybe I am.
It's kind of like, you know, like with instead of releasing the Do Me Baby
I know
demo.
I got it.
Yeah,
I'm just,
it's not
we're just going.
We're
not going to be arguing my points. I'm just going to be playing Prince's words. You can argue with him. Just so you know, that's all we're going to do. Hey,
but regardless of the NFT part, I would love for them to release Dream Factory, Camille, and Crystal Ball. I would. Oh no, yeah.
I think I mean, I love them too. I love them too. Shit.
Yeah. Because that Camille album, that would have been bad.
Yeah. If nothing else, they should just do at least digital playlist versions of those. I mean, most of those songs have been released. Like maybe one song we're still out.
I mean, you probably want the collector of the album pressed that way, and you know,
sure.
I would, yeah.
If they have any sort of, that's what I'm saying. If anything, they're just going to make them as a I could see limited edition. You know, black label. I don't know how much art they had for these things, but I mean, either way, they'd be for the fans. I'd buy it. But like I said, if nothing else, if they had a digital playlist or something, just like this is that album or something. But anything they do, I think we'd all buy it up at this point. In terms of the music, I'm not buying the Crown Royal robe. You know. I'm not buying that type of stuff. But I'm not mad at the thought of why they just selling everything. I get it. You can slap the Prince symbol on a lot of things. People are gonna buy it. But
that robe is hideous.
Yeah, I'm good on that one. And shout out to Eric for pointing that out. That was hilarious.
Okay, I gotta ask. If they sell the Raspberry Beret Sky Blue cloud suit, you buying it?
No.
Hell no.
Hell no.
So disappointed. I would.
Now,
I don't know
if they
if I'd buy it,
sold
I'd
the
lease it.
boots, if they sold the shoe replicas, would I buy one of those and put it on a pedestal? Yeah, of course. If it was reasonably priced. No, we
Okay,
talked about that.
since we're making admissions here, I gotta own this one. I gotta give it up to our girl Kenisa. She got the chain cap from My Name is Prince. I would buy one of those.
Okay.
I would definitely buy the chain like police cap. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me that would be like I wouldn't buy. I'm not mad at anybody. To me, it would be like buying a stormtrooper helmet or one of those replicas or something. Yeah, those are cool. Yeah, I would get something like that if I could afford it.
I walk into court wearing it and go straight to jail.
Hilarious.
Counselor, what the hell is this? And what's with that clear
Like,
pimp
man,
cane? Get him out of here.
Man, you had a wild night last night, huh? You're in court now.
Remember where you are, counselor. Sorry, Your Honor.
I can see it now. Big Sexy walking there with the My Name is Prince hat with the get off ass out pants on. Like, whoa.
Oh, somebody grab him.
Order in the corner. All right. That's it. I think that was it. We could keep going all night on that. But some interesting takes. Definitely some side eye looks. But it's all done in fun. We should
Anthony.
we should be able to talk about stuff like that. And if it's an unpopular thing,
whatever.
It is what it is, man. So aside from that, before we wrap things, any other sort of Prince related thing you want to? Oh, did you guys see the? You've been watching the Apollonia Vlad?
I have not, but I'm definitely going to be checking that out.
She's saying some things that are pretty, controversial, shall we say? But I have not been watching it.
Okay, I ended up joining the Vlad membership thing for like $5 so I could see the whole videos. So I did watch the whole thing. It's interesting. There's some stuff you've heard before. A few things that were new to me. Trying to remember the thing that I remember. I think the Graffiti Bridge stuff. I didn't know she was involved in that early on. That was something else. Well, she said an interesting story about Prince and Michael Jackson again. I think it was they were watching Thriller together, Apollonia and Prince. And it was either at her place or Prince's place or something. And he had it on video and it's like, let's watch this. And she was like, Prince was just so like excited. He was like, that's my boy. Look at my man. He just said, look at my man. He's doing his thing. Oh man, look at my man. She was like, he really had respect for him. Like, was excited, for his success. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I mean, yeah, because publicly they never really shitted on each other.
Right.
And they're two Midwest boys.
That's true. But
Michael
go ahead.
never really took a shot at anybody until much, much later where he torched Tommy Mottola. So that wasn't really Mike's deal to take snipes at people.
Not in the open like not like that. No. Mike's from a different era, man.
Yeah.
A different time. You always show unity and working together and shit. But anyway, yeah, Apollonia things is interesting. I don't know if there was anything that I can remember. Prince stuff. I guess we're just all waiting for the next thing, whatever the next sort of release is, I suppose.
Great.
So, we'll see. Definitely we'll see. All right. Well, with that, man, we're going to wrap this thing up. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. In the comments, what are some of your opinions, maybe unpopular opinions about Prince or things of that nature? This is a good place. That's the word now. This is a safe place
God.
to say that. So there you go. With that said, we're going to see you all next time. Work it like a job. Peace.